I think like the biggest thing about finding community on the road is to not be in your rig all the time.
Go outside.
Go outside.
What up, y'all? Today's episode of the RV Voice is brought to you by RV Fix. And let me tell you, if you've ever found yourself stranded with an RV issue miles from the nearest service center, you know how frustrating that can be. Well, that's where RV Fix comes in. Imagine having a master RV tech right in your pocket. Yeah, you heard that right. With RV Fix, all it takes is a quick phone call and boom, you're connected via video call with an expert who can guide you through fixing your issue, saving you both time and money. Then here's the kicker. Try RV Fix risk-free with the 14-day free trial. You'll need to enter your card number just like most subscriptions, but don't worry, you won't be charged until after the trial ends. If you decide to continue, please use the code RVVoice at checkout. This really helps support the RV Voice and keeps us going strong, and we really appreciate it. Seriously, guys, this is a game changer. Stay on the road and keep your RV in tip-top shape with RV Fix. Learn more at rvfix.com. Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice today. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Oh, Mike. All right. Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice. We have full-timers again today. And these full-timers have been at it for 5 years. They had a little part-time in there, and they actually had they're on their second RV, and they had to downsize, which is a very strange thing. Most people don't do so, but they have reasons why, and they'll tell us why. But they're traveling with 3 kids and 1 dog, and they're in a Grand Design Reflection 28BH. It's a bunkhouse, actual bunkhouse model, and not a lot of people do that. A lot of people kind of go the toy hauler route. But anyway, we're talking about James and Kelly with the Road Rabers. So give them guys a follow right here at YouTube, and also check out their Instagram. And then all their other links are right here. But we're going to welcome in here, and you're going to hear their whole story, their personal journey into the full-time life and whatnot, everything. Welcome, James and Kelly.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day.
Absolutely.
Oh, woo. All right. You guys are down in Florida hanging out, enjoying the semi-cool weather. It's not super nice right now, but everyone goes to Florida for the winter because of the snowbird season, right?
Yes. Follow the butter.
Yeah, follow the butter. The fair weather fans, James and Kelly.
Yep. That's us.
Originally from Arizona, don't like the heat though. No, don't like too much heat.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Like, be comfortable. I don't want to be drenched either way.
If I had it my way, I'd be in a foot of snow all year round. Foot plus of snow. The reason being is skiing. That's basically the only reason. You know, I can leave the snow, but if I had to choose between here you get hot sandy beaches every day or mountains and snow, I'm taking the mountains and snow every time.
We look at it the opposite way. Is I can go visit the snow, but I'd like to be able to go at the beach and get sand between my toes.
Yep.
So it's okay.
And you put a beer in my hand, I can go about anywhere. You know?
Touche, good sir.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, put me there. Pina colada on the beach. Yeah, I can do that too.
Done.
Keep them coming.
Got a lawn chair and a beer.
Oh, goodness gracious. But all right, guys. Well, let's just kind of hop into it. Your personal journey into the full-time RV life. You started 5 years ago. What kind of inspired you to transition to the full-time life? Because, the normality is the easy way, right? The sticks and bricks way is the easy way. But there's more to be out there in life. So just kind of share your story, how it all got started and why you're doing it. No, don't say why you're doing it, but why you got started.
Right. We started looking at pop-up trailers to get to pull behind our van, and the guy at the dealership looked at me a little side-eyed and was like, "You're gonna pull it with that?" And I was like,
"What was the van?"
It was like a Ford Freestar,
like a 2006 or something, 2004.
I could pull 3,500 pounds.
It's an old POS.
Ish. Yeah, ish. And I was like, "No, dude, I can go get something else." And he's like, "Well, what are you gonna go get?" And then so we started looking at vehicles, and then we realized that we could sell our house and buy a nice truck and trailer and throw away normal.
Yeah.
And not go camping and go live it.
We knew we were done with Arizona, like you said.
Yes.
Throw it away.
We were done with Arizona. I grew up in Arizona. He lived most of his life in Arizona, and we were just done there. We could make a good amount on our house if we sold it, but we didn't know where we wanted to live. And I was like, if I'm moving, I'm never moving again. I'm moving once, which I now find very hilarious because I move like every 10 days or something, but it's different in an RV. But I didn't want to move and like buy this amazing house or property, homestead, whatever we decided on, and then like a year later, 6 months later, hate it. So he was like, well, let's just travel in an RV, like go all over the place. We made like a 3-year. Yes. And he's got a lot of injuries from his time in the military. So taking our bed with us was a way, it was important for us to be able to travel like that. So we were already looking at an RV, and he's like, well, let's just travel in it. So we made a 3-year plan. We were going to do like the East Coast and the West Coast, and then like the middle in Alaska. And then we would
buy a house.
And then we were going to buy a house. And I don't know, what was it, like 6 weeks in?
Yeah, we knew that wasn't going to happen.
That wasn't going to happen.
No, there was way too much exploring to do. It was awesome. Our kids instantly thrived in it. It was. It has its challenges. Don't get me wrong, but
it just felt right. There was just, I don't know, there's just something that clicked for both of us. It was like, this is kind of amazing, and we haven't really done anything yet.
To be fair, I think we both, so like she married me when I was like very early into my military journey. So I think she was expecting some travel out of it. And I was kind of expecting some travel out of the military, and we never got it. I got stationed in El Paso, Texas, which is
just like Arizona.
Yeah, it's just
boy, oh boy.
Right? Yay!
So here we are.
Yeah. And I grew up traveling. My mom was big on taking summer trips, whether it was California or driving across country to visit family. We did a cruise. We went to Mexico. My mom really she likes to go see things. So I've always like had that in me of wanting to go new places and see new things, you know, that little bit of wanderlust. And it just, I don't know, it just made sense to try it. And then we loved it. And apparently we still love it because it's been 5 years.
And there's there's no end in sight.
Nope.
That's awesome.
So
no end in sight. Well, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. I couldn't do it myself. I don't do well with authority.
I want to never have again. I feel you. It was the most fun I want to never have again.
Ever.
Authority, like you were saying. I mean, like I thought it was so dumb when like we're having like a man-to-man conversation with so if I was a lower enlisted and I was having a conversation with a sergeant, every time I would address them in a man-to-man conversation, I'd have to address him by his title. And to me, that's silly. We're just in a man-to-man conversation. And I'd get in trouble for things like that. And I'm like, this is not the place for me.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the service. I really do. But
absolutely.
That part, you know, like that's like, I'll fight you. You know, I really will.
I feel you.
Yeah. Well, okay. So 5 years into it, you said no going back. That's awesome. But how did you so you were living a normal life. How long were you guys together before this? 10. Did you say that already?
What is that, like 20? We got married in 2012 years.
Yeah, 12 years, 10 years.
We were married 12 years before we started traveling.
Okay. So 12 years, you were already there might have been conversation at this at some point in time. You guys wanted to go out and do some camping with your kids. So you wanted to get a pop.
Oh yeah, we totally go camping.
Yeah. And especially you're in Arizona, like that's like, it drops to like 60 degrees at night. Like, oh yeah. I mean, that's why I moved out here in the Midwest. I mean, I'm from Nebraska. Like going camping, like in a tent was not a no. No. I mean, I did it. No. You know, you wake up, you go to bed at 90 degrees and humid. You wake up at 90 degrees and humid. Like it doesn't really drop.
No, it's great in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But out here, I mean, it'll be dead of summer down here in Boise. It'll be 115 degrees. You go up there, it's still 100 degrees, right, up in the mountains. But I'm pointing this way, like you know where I'm pointing. But but you go up there and like you're in the deep riverbed valleys, and like it'll be 45 degrees. You'll see your breath in the morning. And I'm like, I'm having a heyday because like every other weekend, I'm like, we got to go. There's stuff up there,
Right.
Yeah. So camping has always been ingrained in me. Like I just love the outdoors, but the full RV life is a totally different animal. And we probably cross that bridge when we get there. I'd love to do it because like everybody I talk to, it just sounds like they're having a wonderful life. So, but anyway, prepping this is totally different. You guys were together 12 years and you have 3 kids now. I don't know how old they are. We can talk about that. But like what steps did you take to like prepare for full-time RV life? Because it's a totally different animal versus the full-time home life, right? You have to kind of uproot yourself, purge everything because people have a lot of shit, stuff.
Right. Yes.
And it just kind of, you accumulate that. So like, how did you go about preparing for full-time RV life?
So totally, we had a 2,500 square foot house. So we knew we needed to get rid of stuff before we even hit the road. So we made conscious effort. So when we decided to sell everything, we made the house perfect.
Yeah. We finished all those projects that get pushed to the back burner.
And then, so I had to finish all those projects, and then we made the house perfect, sold it. And in that time, we got rid of a lot of stuff. And then we put some stuff in storage, and then the rest of the stuff came with us. But no, it was a huge journey for our daughter.
Yes.
It's getting rid of stuff. Like she really struggled. She was 6 at the time, 8 at the time.
Yeah, 8. She was 8. Sorry, I had to think about it. I had to do math. She was 8, and man, like I don't like looking back. I didn't see it until we started doing this, but we did the whole Marie Kondo thing. We tried to do that to kind of help her. And Marie Kondo, if it doesn't bring you happiness, then let it go. And she has this whole thing where like she thanks it for whatever it did for her, and then you donate it, or if it's trash, you throw it away. Yep. Right there.
Here you go. You can do it.
Yeah,
but
she's good.
We're all guilty. We're all guilty.
Yeah,
but she was so attached to everything, every single thing that we didn't get to bring with us. She would cry. She was
the epitome of America.
Yes.
I mean, she was very materialistic. She didn't want to let her stuff go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's been a really big part of this is it's given us the ability to just let things go and
just find what, like, there's so much more out there than having 30 of the same shirt or dress in different prints or whatever. And so that's been like a huge journey for her. And we actually just talked about this, what was it, like last week? That we're doing our purge. We tend to purge like 4 times a year. And then like the whole trailer gets purged about twice a year. But she was going through her drawers and she was just like, oh, I'm done with that. Oh, get rid of that. Oh, this doesn't fit. And it was such a big change from when we first hit the road, because it was a big deal. Anytime she had to get rid of anything, she had to like hug it and cry and hold it. And I mean, going through like one drawer in her room took like a whole day just to get through it, because she was so emotional over everything. And now she's just like, oh, it's just a shirt.
Yeah, it's good. She's really come around.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen do you guys have Netflix?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the documentary called Buy Now?
No.
Oh, I've heard about it, but I don't think we've watched it yet.
I love documentaries though.
You'll have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check that one out. There was something else we had watched around that time that kind of helped us. I don't remember what it is now.
It was something about retail or something.
Yeah. But just trying to like let go of everything. And we had to really think about like, there's a lot of things that I might have used every day in my house, but realistically, I'm not going to get the opportunity to use every day in my trailer. And there's still a couple things that we hold on to, like my my KitchenAid mixer.
Doesn't
well, yeah,
It doesn't
you gotta
get used
have
all the
that. You gotta have that.
Well, but you got to make room for it. And there's other things
And
that
it's heavy.
we had to let go of, and not just for space, but for weight too. You have to be super weight conscious. And I don't think we were prepared for that part of it when we hit the road.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't realize how much stuff weighs.
Not only how much stuff weighs, but how much little leeway is built into trailers from the manufacturers for cargo carrying capacity. Because we were shopping for a new rig again, because we wanted something with a little bit more cargo carrying capacity and stuff like that. And we realized that if you want that, you just can't get it.
There's very few out there that fit all the things that we'd like to have. Still be small and have a cargo carrying capacity that's more than what we have now.
I need to win the lottery so I can build a trailer.
Well, it's a lot of these Grand Design 28BH specifically, a reflection, right? That's more of a weekender. They're not really meant to, like, I mean, they can full time for sure, but like, you know, they're thinking of people like just throwing stuff in there, going for the weekend, you know. Versus,
they don't make anything in our size range.
Yeah,
100%.
We are in this one because it is the only rig that we could find that was under 36 feet.
That gave our kids their own room with a full size fridge. I can't remember what the other thing was, but we still had to compromise a little bit. We totally wanted just a touch longer with one more slide.
But there's a lot of limitations. I feel like there's a lot of big rigs. Like, there's so many big rigs out there, but I think there's a huge gap in the industry between like 35 to 30 or 35 to 40 feet for families who don't want all the things.
Even look at Brinkley. They don't even make a full bodied or frame. I don't know what it's called. Small fifth wheel. To get a full body, you have to go to a toy hauler.
Yeah.
So.
And they'll come around with that. They're still making stuff left and right. Everyone wants to beautiful.
Right.
I know. Until that payment.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you know, that one bites a little bit.
$1,800 a month.
Yeah. So you guys kind of talked about how you kind of went about your first RV, like how do you went about choosing it, but how do you, like, what advice would you give someone that's trying to choose their first RV for either full-time or, let's just stick with full-time.
So I think the biggest question, because of the reason that we had to downsize, is where do you want to be able to go?
Where do you plan on staying? What kind of parks? What does your full-time travel life look like? What do you like to do?
If you're going to go from resort to resort, size really won't be a huge deal.
Yep.
Most resorts can handle 40, 45 foot rigs. But national parks, when we went from our 42 foot to our 35 foot, we went from being able to fit in 7% of national parks to 70%.
And that was a huge deal for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. That was a huge factor of why we downsized, because we wanted to stay in more national parks. Because that's what we love. We love
nature's awesome, man.
Yeah. We love being out in nature, and it doesn't, and state parks are a lot like that too.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go be in the outdoors. And in a 42 foot rig, we were finding it very, very hard to do that.
So that would be, what else? Enough room for the food for the people in the trailer. So many trailers have room for 18 people to sleep, but they have a little like 3 cubic foot fridge in it. And you're like, dude, I can't even put enough water.
There's one bag of Jaya family style pizza rolls.
Right?
It's a good point.
Else,
that's a great point.
Yeah, it is. That's something that we struggle with when we're looking for a rig, even when we were looking for our first one.
Mm-hmm.
But so before we got our rig, I don't even think I had ever walked through an RV. Like,
yeah,
you looked at it. Yeah, you did a couple of the.
We did. We walked down. There was one near where we were staying, and we walked through like 3 floor plans. We did a lot of research online, looked at all the different rigs and watched videos and all this stuff. I will say that when you go walking them in person, I wish that we had gone to like a big show that had lots of different types.
That would have been a good idea. Go to an RV show.
Yeah, find a local RV show and go. And if you do it, record yourself walking through the rigs and talk out loud. I mean, obviously talk with your partner, like, what do you like about it? You know, what issues do you see in it? Because I guarantee you, if you've walked more than 2 or 3, you're going to forget what features, which one had, what model it was, what was that thing that you hated in it.
This goes for buying a house, buying a car. I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
any big purchases, your washer and dryer, I don't care. Go,
But record yourself. That was one thing we did. We walked through probably 5 or 6 models on the lot down the way. And I'm so glad that we recorded. I don't remember who suggested it now because it was too long ago for me to remember that. But that's the best thing we did because I could hear like my commentary of what I liked and what I didn't like and what was useful and stuff like that. So
that's actually a really good way to going about it. I never thought about that. I never thought about the fridge space. I mean, I didn't sell to a whole lot of full timers when I was selling. So I sold for a year and a half before this, and I never thought about the fridge space. That's a big one. You always see someone with cooler anyway, so like it makes sense. But like the fact that thinking about that it's a good one, very good one. Recording yourself, another massive one. What was another one?
After you find the ones you like, go research what's wrong with them because even
yeah. That's a good one.
Issues, but knowing what could happen and being prepared for it is a big.
Our first trailer, I did that, and so I beefed up our suspension a little bit because I understood that's where it had a little bit of issues.
And we never had a problem.
And then we never had a problem. And then
we had backup slide cables.
And then with this one, I did not do that, and it bit me in the butt. So take my own advice.
Right.
I tell you what, yeah, there was one thing I was going to hit on that for, like, you record yourselves going through them, you're choosing your own RV for that. It's a great way of doing it because then you can remember, because when you go on a lot, all of a sudden, especially when you've never stepped into them, all of a sudden there's like, it's a whole new world of things, right? I came from the construction world. So like houses, like I could, if you go look at houses, you're probably going to look at maybe 3 in one day,
maybe
when you walk onto an RV lot, there's 200 plus at a small lot, and then like what you're looking at for, especially bunkhouses, that's the biggest segment, right? Mm-hmm. So you walk into bunkhouses like, well, that one's cool. Next one, well, that one's cool. The next one, well, that one's cool. And then you just forget about everything. So like, at least at Bitches, if you were like, did you guys go to shows?
Not before we bought ours.
Okay. So
I wish we had.
At least at Bitches, what we do is we sit you down, because everyone was just like, I just want to go look at campers. Like, I understand you want to do that, but to make the best time out of your time and my time, let's get some notes. And then I'll show you the top 5 or 6. And if those don't work for you, then we can kind of go from there. But this way it kind of narrows you down versus like, I'm going to walk through every single door. You're never going to find an RV. So we were trying to like help you out, push you in the right direction, whether it's buying from us or somebody else. But there was, gosh darn, I just had it. It just came back to me and then it went away. Oh, well, it is what it is. Maybe later. But yeah, choosing your first RV is finding The what's wrong with the RV? That was like one of the
Yes.
number one questions that I get from newbies. Is like, well, which one has the least issues? And I was like, guys, I guarantee you, whatever you buy, whether it's from me, Facebook, next guy over down the street, it's gonna have issues.
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid it.
No.
They're going to have issues. I mean, think about it. However, it doesn't matter how long it is, but every time you move it, it's driving like through.
It's an earthquake.
Yeah, it's a giant earthquake and a tornado, and there's just no way to avoid it. And they're not made of bricks and concrete, so things get loose, things break, stuff happens, and honestly, stuff happens here, but it's not that different than being in a sticks and bricks. Stuff still happens. My AC still broke in the middle of summer, and I had to pay emergency to fix it. And I mean, what else? Like all kinds of stuff.
It's just you just have less of it to fix. I mean, think if I have a 2,500 square foot house, that's a lot of square footage around the house to fix. And if the 42-foot trailer is still a lot less than that big old house.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're only talking a couple hundred versus a couple thousand. Yeah, and but anyway, that segments perfectly to the next thing: daily life challenges and solutions. Right. So, what's a typical day look like for you guys, and what are some challenges within your everyday tasks that may be different? And what solutions did you go about doing those, or how do you make it all work? It's kind of a lot. It's a big loaded question, right? There's a lot.
So there's 5 people of us. 5 people of us. Wow, that's a good one. There's 5 of us in this trip. We all have work that we need to do. So I mean, Kelly's got her work. I got mine. The kids got their school work. And so we have to be able to work and play in the same amount of area, even if it's a rainy day. So we have to do that. Then on top of that, what would be some more challenges?
I think.
How we get over it. I mean, it's
we utilize outside when we can.
But cleaning up, everything has its space. I'm a little bit particular about things being in their place, but that makes everything flow smooth. Yeah.
If everything has
I mean, hey, they graded it, didn't you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think another thing we've kind of figured out, but especially in the beginning, was the balance of. We had already homeschooled, so we didn't have to figure out the balance of how to homeschool. But one of the things we struggled with was the balance of school and going and exploring. Like we had to figure out how to do that. And our situation's unique, and there's a lot of RVers that don't have regular 9-to-5s, so I know it's not just us, but we don't have regular 9-to-5s. So we make a lot of little adjustments to the kids' school. And let's say this week we're going to be in Niagara Falls. We're going to be gone all day, every day. We're only spending a week here. There's a lot to see, a lot to do. So we tend to make those adjustments to school. Our kids do school on whatever days works for us, not in whatever times. Like in the summer when it's hot, like we might get up early and go for a hike, and then they do school before bed that day. And other times of the year, it's not super cold right now, but we had that huge cold snap in January in Florida, and it was freezing. So, like
bunch
if
of
we're going to go out, right, I know. But we do all of our exploring in the afternoon when it's warm. It did snow. It didn't snow for us, thank goodness. But
yeah, it's good.
So we make a lot of day-to-day adjustments, and so
being fluid,
and as we just don't have like a set schedule. Every day looks different for us. Every week looks different for us. Every month looks different for us. It depends on where we are, what's nearby, how much work we have. We'll make adjustments. Like I know we have some fun stuff coming up in 2 weeks. So we're working a little bit extra right now so that we can take that week off and not have to worry about anything else while we're having that week off.
Yeah. It's the being fluid is a big point, right? It's well, you're changing, like you said, 2,500 square foot house to in the 28 BH, you're looking at 300.
Yeah,
Probably.
right. Give or take. Yeah,
around there.
A little more give, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's 5 of you. So cooking looks different. Cleaning looks different. You said you're particular about that. Everything has its space. And you said you guys had to purge a lot of stuff. I mean, that makes it even like the minimalistic lifestyle, even more minimalistic. Minimalistic than we're coming out, right? But what about laundry on the road? What is that like? You guys, I'm guessing it doesn't have a washer dryer hookup in there.
No,
it does
Didn't
not.
think so. Didn't think so.
Yeah, we have a couple different options. So we've done it. We had a little manual spinner that we had.
We did.
That was interesting. But laundry usually is that was real fun. We actually have a wash back now.
We do.
For like if you got like an emergency T-shirt or something. But
we can do a little bit.
Yeah. But for regular laundry, our favorite is being down in Florida because the laundromat is super clean and new.
It's very nice. They take care of it very well. But usually we do one of two things, depending on how busy we are. We either will do like a small load a couple times a week just at the campground laundromat, if there is one, or we'll collect it for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and take it down to a laundromat and do all of it in like 4 hours.
Knock it out. It's usually faster than that, and we can all help that way, and it's just done.
Yeah.
And that usually works pretty good, and we can usually get more done that way because I mean, realistically, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, right now is easy why we're in Florida because everything's right down the street compared to when you're in the middle of Tennessee or Kentucky or something like that, where the closest laundromat and groceries are
like 45 minutes away if you're lucky.
So you go get everything done at once.
So we'll go put everything in the washer, and then we'll go to like a grocery store or whatever other things we have to do. Come back, put it in the dryer, and then go to the other grocery store because the first one didn't have everything you need.
Cooler bags. Cooler bags are a big one.
Yep. But yeah, so it's for laundry. That's pretty much it. There has been a couple times on the road where we've borrowed, like we've been traveling with friends and we'll borrow their laundry and because they have like a toy hauler. So they've got a washer dryer, and if I need to, I'll throw a couple things in there if they're not busy, but
you learn the things that you have to plan, and then you learn where you don't have to plan them. I mean, if you plan your day relatively, but give it some grace at the same time, it goes a long way.
You make a day out of it, right? So like, well, laundry, like it's not everybody has their own like washer dryer combo, whatever it may be. You guys don't. So you guys make a whole day out of it. Like, well, it just lines up with everything else. So I need to get the groceries. We're going to do that. I need to go, pick up something from the pharmacy. You got to do that as well on that day. Make it all a day out of it versus just like, there's people that have the washer and dryer, or especially a combo unit every day, all day long. Because I mean, it takes hours for one load.
It does. It's like an all-day thing load, and your loads are itty bitty.
They're not stay on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just one extra thing to do during the day. It's just part of it. It's part of the daily life. So, maintenance and repairs, how does that go for you guys?
I love them.
We're lucky.
It's like your favorite thing?
Yeah.
He's very handy, and he actually went to school to work on vehicles, automotive, diesel, and industrial. So,
Class 8 trucks, trailers. I worked for U-Haul, auto diesel tech. Yeah, it's been like construction and ag dealership. I've been all over the place as far as mechanics go, and I was a handyman. So I used to work on houses too. So I mean, like, literally, I think this was my calling, was living in a trailer.
Why don't you just be a mobile RV tech and make money off everybody in the RV?
Because
grounds.
you have to work pretty hard for that.
But you said you love it. You just said it.
I like doing mine. This is on like a moderate basis. I get tired. I come in, I play video games. She feeds me, and then I go back to work. Just putting some lap sealant down on the roof isn't that hard.
Yeah, I mean, if we needed to, he could.
Yes.
And there's times where if somebody needs something, like somebody's truck breaks down or something like that, like he's always willing to put out a helping hand and help them with it or show them how to fix it.
I like helping people. I have good tools for a reason, and I mean that, and that's what a decent portion of our content is me showing people that they can do it. Like, it's really, none of it's that hard. You just a little bit of confidence. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty simple. Like, RVs are pretty simple, but I'm like, when it comes to like electrical, I'm like, my brain, my dad's like, oh, it's like water. No, it's not like water. It's not,
It is like water.
Plumbing, it goes downhill. It flows downhill. I get that one. Don't bring up that it's like water. No. Ground and positive, I understand that, but like, yes, it should create a full current. But when you start throwing switches and other things in there and tickers and whatever, it's a lot.
Right. No, I definitely don't mind it. Electrical's fun. I don't mind doing solar. But there are some people that if you're not that confident in yourself, electrical is one that you probably don't want to dive into head first.
No. But if you'd like some help on your RV, use promo code RV Voice and buy RV Fix. It's a wonderful tool.
Well, and it's so funny because when we first started, I said that there should be something like that. Because, I mean, sometimes especially when you're boondocking, like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you were able to find a tech, you might be lucky if they're like an hour out. And if you can't get your slide in and you need to move or something like that, like, it's not always easy. So I love.
Sometimes it is easy to fix it, and you just need to know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the know-how. And we love that about RV Fix.
It was fun.
Such an awesome idea. And I love that somebody is doing that.
We got to put up the video of the kid doing it.
Right. You weren't there when we were at Tampa. They walked our middle son. He's 9. They walked him through how to fix. It was a light.
It was the light and the switches.
Yeah. And so they walked him through how to do it. And he was able to do it with very, very little help from Dad. I think the big thing you had to tell him was which one was the plier.
Yes.
It's so easy, and 9-year-old can do it.
Yes.
Yep.
We can help you through. That's awesome. Oh, goodness. I can't wait to see that video. That'd be good.
Yes.
But anyway, so you like to do those things. Are there any other challenges that you've had to come across? I mean, we'll get into homeschooling because that was probably a new step for y'all, as it is for most people that get into the full-time RV life. But like mail, shipping, regular, maybe just you time, versus because you're with each other all the time. That's a big thing. But like, what about like, okay, kids, go do your thing. We're going to go do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you actually hit on a couple good ones there. So mail, there's actually a few different ways to do that. And I don't know if there's anybody I like good enough to like shout them out. I would encourage people to do their research, but there are some that you have to be careful of. PMBs, personal mailboxes, that's something that's kind of new. If you have one of those, your insurance company will not cover you. You have to get a special insurance because they understand that your vehicle's not parked there and that it's not a residence. So look out for personal mailboxes, PMBs.
Okay. It's a good thing. Never heard that before.
That's if you change your domicile somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what you need to look out for. But actually receiving mail, it takes a lot of research.
Got to call the post office.
I know if we're gonna be in this area and I need to receive something, one, you need to know like how long your shipping is gonna take, so you know when to order it. Especially if you're only gonna be there like a week. If you're there longer, then it's a little bit easier. But you need to know how it ships because You can use general delivery at the post office. Most of the time, you don't have to fill anything out ahead of time. But call and find out, which sometimes can be difficult because sometimes they don't answer the phone very well. But there's no joke.
I get it. I mean, yeah, you're standing there. You if you go to the post office, you'll understand why they don't answer the phone.
Yes, and I get it.
Let me go do this over here. I'll be back.
Right. It's like, oh, what is the sloth in that movie?
Oh yeah, Flash.
Flash, 100-yard dash.
That's the DMV. That's the DMV, right? I got a funny story.
Flash's cousin. No, it's the cousin works at the post office.
Yo, I went to. Is there a number 2? Is there a Zootopia 2?
I think they're coming out with one.
Well, anyway,
I don't know.
I went to.
I could totally be down though.
Real quick story on that. I was on a date in college when that movie was about to come out. I think we went to. Is it Will Ferrell and Marky Mark? The meet. Oh yeah, meet Daddy or something like that. You know,
Daddy's home.
Daddy's home. That.
Yeah.
And we went to watch that, but the credits were that Zootopia was in there, and it was that scene and it was a packed house. We got like the last 2 seats in there, and it was the credit from Zootopia of that scene. And it was the sloth, and he started doing I laughed. I tell you, 5 to 10 seconds before everybody else. I saw it coming. I just lost it. And I was the only one, and then everyone else got it afterwards. But I was like, "You guys are slow." His eyes was Oh God, it was great. Oh, anyway,
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Good movie.
It terrifies my children, though.
You gave me a skunk butt rug.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, good one.
Whoa.
So that pretty much covers the challenges and solutions, right? I mean, you guys, you've made it work. Obviously, 5 years, you're no, I'm bound to determine. Once you're determined, you can make anything work, right? You're in a small space, which is crazy. That's smaller than most for 5 people, but not the smallest I've heard. I've actually heard more people in less space.
Yes.
But homeschooling, that was new to you, I'm assuming, 5 years ago. No, it wasn't. Oh, okay. Well, hey, let me finish the question. So how do you go about homeschooling? Do you catch a little bit of hate for homeschooling while on the road? And I guess, do you feel your kids are thriving in their education on that standpoint?
So we had homeschooled we left in 2020, so about 2 years before we hit the road. So we didn't have a whole lot of adjustment. When it came to homeschooling on the trailer, there wasn't a whole lot of difference there, but we got hate before we were in a trailer for homeschooling. I don't know what's beeping.
Beep, beep.
Right.
Everybody out there, sorry if you hear a couple beeps, we're getting taken care of.
I turned notifications off, but apparently it said no. But we homeschooled prior to traveling, and so there wasn't a whole lot of adjustment there, and our homeschooling style has changed over the years. But that's something that we kind of love about homeschooling is you can do it however it works for you in that moment. It's super flexible. Homeschooling is about you and your children and what they need. And that's kind of why we started our homeschooling journey to begin with, was specifically because we didn't feel like our daughter was getting what she needed out of education at the time.
And she wasn't even in regular public school.
No. But I don't know what is left. I've closed everything. I don't know what's left to closed.
My eye just rolled.
Here, you know what? Literally everything else is closed. Except for this.
So, yeah.
The biggest thing we had to do with homeschooling when we started was to unschool yourself.
Yeah, that's where we...
As in you, parents.
Yes.
To unschool, because homeschooling is very different than school at home.
Well, and it's very different than just going to school and doing what we like. I mean, we both grew up in public schools, so you can't recreate what
we had and how we learned at home.
Different
it's
times
just
too.
not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big part of I think we've learned a lot by homeschooling. And that was a big part of the beginning of our journey, was unschooling and realizing that it doesn't have to be the way that you think it has to be. It has to be whatever works. So we've gone through a lot of different phases. We unschooled the kids for a while when they were younger, which is a little more fluid education. It's more children led. You find their interests and you find ways to weave education into their interests.
A good example was, so we really struggled to get our oldest, our daughter she struggled with reading. She sucked. And then
I was the same way.
Right. And then so we didn't force it down her throat. I mean, we didn't ignore it, but we let it be more part of life than here, come read, like trying to, show a dog that they just peed. And so now we can't get her to put a book down.
No.
Really?
She's reading probably, I mean, I haven't tested or anything, but she's probably 2 to 3 grade levels above where she should be.
She reads better than me.
Yeah, let's be honest.
So that's and we still follow that, even though we do a more scripted type education now. We still follow that, and we really try to let the children lead it. If they're not ready, and
struggling that day,
it's okay. Close the computer, close the workbook. Let's go outside. Let's do something else, and we can come back to it later or another day. I think really the biggest thing that we had to learn is forcing it, because this is what's on the schedule today, is the worst thing that we can do for everybody, because it makes tensions right up, and then the kids aren't in a learning space. They're in a panicked space, and you can't learn when you're in that kind of mindset. So we really try to let them lead still. And we, I forgot what I was just going to say about that. It's just gone. We let them lead still. And our son this week is on the struggle bus with math. His brain is just not mathing. So that's okay. Let's focus on science or English. Let's do some reading. What other things can we do? And we'll come back and try math a little bit more next week. We'll try to find ways to put math and other things that he's more interested in, to kind of make those things make sense.
Or find a different approach with the learning. So either I'll try explaining it to him how I do it, or she'll try explaining it to how she does it. And things work that way. We've used YouTube.
We look up for division, how to do division, because that's what he's struggling with now. And there's tons of resources out there. There's also OutSchool's another good resource for stuff like that. If someone's struggling, it's kind of like having a little tutor, and it's super flexible. So you can pick and choose what you want, how long you want it, how many kids are in the class, or private tutoring. And there's just, I don't know. The world is amazing how many resources are out there. You just have to go look for them.
Yeah, we live in a really cool age.
And other RV families too. That's been huge for us when we are in a place where especially like in the winter, there's a lot of RV families in the same area. And so there's been a couple times, one of our friends, her son is extremely, extremely smart. He's 13 and our son is 9. And he was struggling with his, I don't remember what he was struggling. He was struggling with coding. He really wanted to take a coding class and he was struggling with it. And I don't know anything
about language, bud. It's going to take a minute.
Right? Over my head. And so we had him come over and he spent.
And they were coding.
Yep. And they were coding.
Oh, that's interesting. Right? Yeah. I took a coding class. I'm like, I was like, I begged the teacher. I'm like, hey, here's the deal. I'm just getting this for a credit. Like, what do I do to get by?
Right.
She's like, no, don't worry. She's like, don't worry about it, Jake. You'll be fine. Shout out. I'm not going to say her name, but yeah, it was great. Yeah. Uh-oh, it skipped. That's one skip. I'll count that as one, but that's fine. But anyway, we talked about, teaching, like different ways to teach, maybe learning way, your perspective versus your James' perspective versus Kelly's perspective, like how to teach it. I talked to Kirsten with the Tactical Trekkers the other day. She's like, well, it's happening at all times, like schooling, like everyday life, I'm going to the checkout counter. All right, count the change. Like, what's the change going to be? Yep. Look at the kid. What's the change going to be? Or like, how many quarters does it take to get 75 cents in the laundromat or 150?
Yep.
I was like, that's kind of interesting, especially for young kiddos. They like to learn. They're sponges,
yep.
Right? They want to know. They want to know how it all works. So you just got to make it fun for them, make it a game. If you made it a game for me, if you're like, hey, you got to read this in this amount of time, like, I'm going to read it faster than anybody else. Like, I guarantee it. That's just how, like, I thrived in that setting. Like, it had to be sports or athletic or some sort of game for me to be good at it. But on top of homeschooling, how old's your oldest?
13.
13. So that's about the time for sports, athletics era. How do you guys go about that, or even have any desire to push that?
We, our kids really haven't shown a whole lot of interest in that. We're right in that time frame where that kind of stuff kind of starts to happen more. So we're still navigating that. We do a lot of outdoor activities. We like hiking and paddleboarding and kayaking, like all those kinds of things. Biking. We do a lot of mountain biking in the right areas. So
outdoor sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extreme
adventure.
Yeah. Adventure sports.
So we don't, we haven't had a whole lot. I mean, we will absolutely, when we go to the beach or the pool or even just outside, we'll go play football.
Oh yeah.
Throw the football around, or James has been very patiently trying to teach our 7-year-old how to dribble a ball.
Yeah. I still can't do it with my left hand. It's just like what? It's like it's 7 years old. Right hand is it's killing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just so we're kind of, that's new for us. We're kind of navigating that. Oh, did we lose him?
I'm still here. I still got you. Yeah.
Okay.
Most people just listen.
So we're still navigating that. We're actually going to our first full-time families rally next month.
Oh,
and nice. They have part of it. There's a sports camp. And so all of our kids are doing the sports camp. So I'm curious to see if they're going to ask for that. After they experience that.
Yeah.
We do have some friends that have been doing, what is this? They've been doing soccer. There's a soccer camp for, I think it's 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. And so I know that those are those opportunities are out there. We've just not had to go down that road yet.
Yeah, it's I just wondering because it's like I tell basically everybody about this about myself. I wouldn't be me without athletics. I played college football at a small school in Nebraska, and like it's just a different type of aspect of learning, right? You learn how to be on a team, how to work together. You know, with this from the military, you know that you have to be structured, you have to be on time, you have to be accountable for yourself and responsible for your job. That you have to do your job within a team. So it's always a big passion of mine. Like I did everything. I was in band, I was in drama, I was in student council. I was I went to a small school, right? I mean, you just did everything, and it was easier to stay at school than to drive all the way back home. So because I lived like 15 minutes outside of town. So, but anyway, so I'm just kind of curious about that.
I will say that I feel like we get a lot of that just RVing too, though.
Yeah.
Because we, on move days, we include our kids. Our kids are part of the setup and the takedown. Yep. They have responsibilities when we get there and we're parking. James and I are doing one part of setup and the kids are doing another part. So there's a lot of teamwork and those similar types of things that you learn from sports that are just part of our everyday life, living in a small space and RVing.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to get up early and go hiking, there's certain things that have to be done. Mm-hmm. And if him and I are the only ones doing it, we're never going to get out the door. Yeah. So we try really hard to include our kids in everything, in all aspects of this life. Like our daughter, one of her jobs is to do the X-Chalks when we park.
Oh, nice.
Oh, excuse me. And the boys help with
the leveling blocks.
And so, our kids all have at least a basic knowledge of like dumping tanks and
they know which ones are the gray handles because our friend 3D printed us some green tank handle poles, so that way they're a different color than the other ones, so the kids know that they can pull the green ones because those ones are the gray tanks.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So they're allowed to dump the gray tanks by themselves. So even our 7-year-old will take care of that.
Yeah.
No black tank though.
So
no touchy.
Please.
But we really include them in like all aspects so that they have an understanding of what to do. And when, we had been on the road 9 months and I broke my leg in a national park and had to be life flighted out of the park.
45 minutes
away. And it was during COVID. So there was like, they wouldn't even allow him to help me get dressed when I was getting out. So they went like 4 or 5 days without me. So there was a lot that the kids kind of got a little bit of a crash course because there's some things in the RV you just can't do by yourself.
No.
You can, but it's a lot easier if you have someone else.
The boys were actually still pretty young because it was 4 years ago. So
they were 3 and 4 years old.
So Reagan got her first dose of teaching me or learning how to park a rig in between two trees.
Yep. But there was just a lot of learning that came in that time period. And we realized during that time period, we need to make sure that once they're of a certain age, they know how to do certain things. Because if something happens to one of us, and there's no reason that they can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes total sense. Yeah.
It's okay to do hard things.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring him in on everything, most aspects anyway. That's a good point. I like that. You brought up full-time families. So we're going to jump into community and connection here. You guys have been at this for 5 years. Have you guys found a sense of community within your RVing world? And then what rallies do you do? It sounds like this is your first rally in 5 years. So how'd you go about community in the first place? 1,000 Trails is a big one. Everyone shows up at, it's mostly full-timers, but what other ways do you go about building a community and connection?
So yes, this is our first official rally. We've been full-time family members pretty much since the beginning. Our first year is kind of a wash because it was COVID and like there was, I don't know, it was different.
Yeah.
It was very different.
But I think like the biggest thing about finding community on the road is to not be in your rig all the time.
Go outside.
Go outside. And
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of it. I mean, so many people I've met, we hang our full-time families banner off the front of our fifth wheel hitch. So everybody can see it walking by. We have, my license plate is a veteran plate. So I've actually got a couple friends off of that. They've walked by and been like, "Oh, you're a veteran? What'd you do?" Yeah. And then next thing you know, we're talking. And I mean, honestly, that's a big part of our core group is veterans are kind of like magnets. I mean, but it's the same thing. Like, I mean, if you have a sign out front that says, "Hey, I'm a hunter," next thing you know, you're going to have a bunch of hunter
commonality.
Exactly. We'll find something to bond over. We just need to know what we're going to bond over.
Yeah.
So it's okay to express yourself. Let people know what you're about as long as you're reasonable. If you want your pineapples, go have your pineapples.
A big thing is our kids.
Our kids are huge too. Yeah. They're magnets for people.
Well, I mean, kids, they go and play on the, meet a kid on the playground. You're my best friend. Yeah, they come home and they're like, "Oh, I met my best friend today," and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Well, she's wearing a purple shirt, and so am I. So we're friends now.
Yeah. New BFFs.
Yeah.
So, we've built a little community, and there's a little bit of, I don't know. I feel like most places we go, depending on how long we're there, especially when you're in Thousand Trails, there's a lot of people that you meet, and
after about a year on the road, if you're in Thousand Trails, you almost can't not see somebody
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah, it's a double negative, but I understand. Can't not.
Yeah.
You will see someone you know.
And then full-time families is another thing. Yeah. They've got the chat groups. And so if I know we're going to be in a certain area at a certain time, I'll get in the chat groups or go in their Facebook groups and be like, "Hey, who's going to be around here at this time?" And we'll plan different things. We just kind of, especially when you have kids, you tend to gravitate towards other people who have kids too.
It's just easier.
But it is easier. We've got a huge community.
Way bigger than when we lived in Sticks and Bricks.
100%.
Way bigger and way tighter.
Yeah. Well, it's the like-minded people, right? Your neighbors are just your neighbors by choice. Like, I mean, just like I moved here because I like the house. You moved there because you like that house, or like you're in the area because your job is only 5 miles away, or whatever it may be. Like, and then that's about all you get walking in the garage. See you later. I mean, there's people that have great neighborhoods and great cul-de-sacs, and then the kids are like running around. But the idea of being with so many like-minded people at RV parks because of that reason, I mean, your community is going to be a lot larger.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of
and we've got a lot of friends from his military service that live all over the country, or we don't have a whole lot of friends from school, but like past businesses that we've been in, people move, and so it's nice to like reconnect with them when we're on the road too.
That's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
You get to visit people more.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
And it's more natural. Yeah. I don't have to like plan and get on a plane flight and find somewhere to stay. It's just like, "Hey, you got an RV park down the road? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come see you this week." Sounds good.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Being the mobile friend. Yeah, I'm like the friend that travels all over. Like, it doesn't matter where you are, I'm going to come see you. Like, I had a buddy in Scotland, went there and did a 20-day trip around Europe. My buddy up in Alaska, I've been up there 3 times. I have a buddy out in California, but I couldn't even tell you how many times I've been there. If you're somewhere else, I will come see you. At least I will,
Yes.
It's just my thing, you know. And then a lot of people obviously back home. I go back home and try to make it to see everybody, but that's tough. You know, when you go back home, family's family. You come see me, drink a beer at my table, you know. But
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, being mobile is that's, you know, I could see myself being full-time RVer at some point in time, but doing that single first would be pretty tough. So we'll work on that. Anyway, financially, how do you go about this financially? This is a little different because you went from a normal life. You were in the military, so you had that. I'm guessing you have some sort of pension now since you're out of the military. But what else do you guys do to bring in an income? And then how do you sustain this lifestyle? And then are there any specific tips on earning an income or budgeting tips with full-time RVing?
Your business.
Yeah, I started my own business a few years ago. I had something I loved and kind of found like a gap in that market. And so I created my own business to fill that, and it's done fairly well. And
then it's kind of social media marketing in any way.
Yeah, and it's kind of grown and it's morphed into something different than it was when I started it. So that's nice, being able to kind of control what I have to do and when. And if I need to make more money, then I take on more clients and or more projects. So that's nice. And then we do content creation here and there.
It's fun working with brands.
Yeah. But we
and then besides that, I mean, we making content's fun. I one day my YouTube might be good, but dude, these long videos are hard to put together, man. I'm sure you feel that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Luckily, I do it on this thing. You know, I mean, I have it like, so I record on this because it looks all nice and neat, right? I mean, then like I go back and like cut one spot, put it at the end, pull out a little thing and that. But this side is easy, but that's why I also take notes. I take notes and I can just like, this time right here, this is a great spot. Pull it out. Otherwise, I had to watch hours of like, I scroll. You know.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's smart. I wish I could take notes while I was doing some videos. Yeah. I do take video or verbal notes, but I do have to go through a lot of those video. But if I take verbal notes on them, I can actually pull the audio and I can see those spikes in verbals. And so I can actually kind of know my sections. Yeah,
it's brutal. Content creation is brutal. It's like people are like, oh, I could do that. Like, well, could you? Like, it's a lot more than you think.
A lot. I would say it's not just making a video and putting it up.
No, no, there's a lot more to it.
You know, there's a lot of time and research and
hardware.
Yeah, and hardware. There's just a lot that goes into that, but it's something that we enjoy. And you know, after 5 years on the road, we've got a lot of knowledge and things to share.
That's it.
So it just kind of felt natural to go that route after that long.
And then budgeting. I know mine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the one thing that drives me bonkers with people is like, oh my gosh, my registration's due. That just popped up on me. I'm like, seriously, it's due every year at the same time. Just put 1/12 of that back every year and it'll be there. And if it was more than it was last year, then you get a budget, you get a bonus, like, so, or less. So like, because my registration isn't the same as it was last year, it's always $10 cheaper or something like that. So cool. I get an extra $10. I can go out and grab an extra sandwich or something. But that's how I make sure I always have registration money. I know it's always coming.
Knowing, and I will say that in the RV life, it's budgeting is a whole different beast than it was in a sticks and bricks. So plan for what you can and save what you can.
Because food is going to be hard.
You can't, like, unless you are in one spot for an extended period of time, like there's no way to budget food like when we were in a Sticks and Bricks.
Food and fuel, because depending on how much we move and then how many things we want to go do, where we move, and in some places food is ridiculously priced, or it's really cheap. Like, I mean, if I want to buy lobster in Maine, it's $8.99 a pound.
But you're
if
in
I want to buy lobster,
you gotta go. You gotta eat it,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, you're not on vacation, but you're living for experiences.
I'm not gonna lie. We have a lobster budget for our time in Maine this summer.
We do. There's a line item.
Line item 7: lobster.
Lobster. Add lobster. If you're going to Maine, you got to have a line for lobster.
That's great.
But just planning for those things. We try to plan our year. We have a general idea where we're going, and then as we get closer, I'd say probably 6 months out, we have a plan. We know where we're going to stay, and then we look ahead, and like we know in Maine, we're going to want to do that. We know if we're close to New York City, we're going to want to go into the city. That's going to cost more. We're spending, so I know that we're going to buy train tickets to make it easier to go into Boston more often and do things. When we went to the Wings,
the
hot
place.
Wings. They're from
Detroit.
No, not Detroit. In New York.
Oh, Buffalo
Wings. I couldn't think of the word Buffalo. We knew we were going and we were going to be near Buffalo, so I knew I wanted to like go and experience buffalo wings, where they came from. Are they better? Are they the same?
Did they actually come from there?
Well, that's where they originated from, was Buffalo.
For real?
Supposedly. That's the story. For real.
I want to Google that.
I'm doing it right now.
When we went to
I'm
New
my
Orleans.
own Jamie, Joe Rogan Jamie. All right.
Right?
But like I know where
Buffalo, New York, they say.
Out there. You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. I have no memory. Like none. I think I've hit my head way too many times. So
no, I played college football. I get you.
But there's just things like I know we're gonna go these places, and in this place I'm gonna want to do X, Y, and Z. So I plan for it, and then we also look for a lot of free things to do.
Yes. That's probably our biggest budget line item is free stuff.
Free stuff. We do we have a national park pass, so we can get into most national parks for no cost. We also look ahead if we're going to be in a state for a long enough period of time and close enough to state parks, we'll buy the state park pass.
Because we like to be in Florida. We usually buy the Florida one.
We'll buy the Maine one when we're in Maine because we're going to be there for 3 or 4 months. So it just makes sense, instead of paying to get in 3 or 4 times, look at what that cost difference is and just kind of plan it out. Is it worth buying a pass? Same with like science memberships or science museum memberships, zoo memberships, stuff like that. You know, what do you like to do? Is it worth to find some sort of membership to kind of cut your costs down a little bit?
And Thousand Trails.
And Thousand Trails is huge too. We try to stay in Thousand Trails when we can, so that way when we're in an area, or if we want to go outside of a Thousand Trails area, we can spend the money on a nicer park or take that vacation, or you know, whatever it is that comes up. We have that savings. Whatever we would spend on a campground, we kind of put a lot of that aside each month so that we can spend it later on down the road.
We've had Thousand Trails for 5 years. So after having Thousand Trails for 5 years, we've easily doubled what we've spent on it in savings of what we would have spent outside of just staying at random campgrounds and stuff.
Even if you get the cheap ones.
Yeah.
Which...
And really? Campground costs have changed a lot since COVID's, because when we took off, there was no... We
could find campgrounds for $10-15 a night, and they were nice. They weren't like, you know, on the train track.
We stayed at the San Diego KOA for $25 a night.
Yeah. And that's just not possible anymore. Campground costs are crazy. So that's one place we get a lot of our savings, is staying in Thousand Trails when we can.
Yeah, a budgeting thing that like you mentioned national parks. Who doesn't want to go to a national park, right? I've been to very few, unfortunately, because I'm what you call it, cheap ass. I don't want to pay. I mean, I've driven up to them and like, $55 for a day pass. I'm like, come on, that's expensive. But you talked about also camping in them, right? Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of people do the boondock near go in.
Yes,
absolutely.
So, that's another way of budgeting. I've had most people because the bigger rigs, right? A lot of people have plus 40 footers just because of space, right? And a lot of, like you said, 7% of national parks are somewhere around there. Is you got to be under 40 foot. That's like the number, right? But if you could stay outside within minutes or within an hour of the entrance or whatever, I mean, that's pretty good, right? You're still in and around it. You can get up early, be there at sunrise, and be there till sundown. So that's just something that I learned along the way.
With our 42-foot rig, we did a lot of that. We boondocked outside of Joshua Tree. We boondocked in Havasu.
Me too.
We boondocked somewhere in Northern California. I don't remember exactly where. Oh, in Southern California.
Yeah, a lot of SoCal.
Yeah. I will say that I feel like boondocking on the West Coast is a whole lot easier than on the East Coast.
Yes, that's true.
We have not done a lot of boondocking out here.
Yeah. If you look at the night map of all the lights,
East
Coast is full, and then the West Coast is barren. I'm a West Coast everything west of the Mississippi is like me, and the East, I'll keep it. I don't even care. I'd love to go see a lot of stuff, the history and all that, but I'm not living there. Catch me dead. You have to pay me a ton of money to live on that side.
Yes.
Just not for me. The beauty of the Northeast, though, I'd love to be there up there in the fall. I'd love to see that. Driving through the New York woods and all that.
That's what we're doing this year. We're following the fall colors down. We're going to push our comfort on temperature, I'm sure.
We're going to get cold.
We're planning for cold weather. So we're excited.
I'm going to insulate my underbelly.
Yeah. Oh, you don't? It's not insulated.
It's got the little foam insulation right up underneath the floor, but I think I'm going to pull it down and throw a little bit of insulation under there around the tanks and stuff.
Yeah,
just to help.
Just a little more. Does it have tank pads?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that helps. That helps. You stay around. You stay above 30, you're going to be fine. But anyway, you guys have been at this for a while. What's some advice for beginners that you would like to say that are thinking about transitioning into the full-time RV space? Because it's different. It's not the same. So what advice would you give? 1, 2, 3, three things, bam.
Yes. Be patient. Be patient in all aspects. Be patient with yourself, your spouse, your kids, your rig, traffic, just flat be patient.
Yeah, everything will go wrong with it.
Yes.
And not in a bad way, but in a life way, things happen and then so be patient and be proactive. You can't wait for things to fail to fix them. It really sucks dealing with a blowout because your wheel bearing was bad or losing a wheel because your wheel bearing wasn't serviced when you could have spent 20 minutes servicing that wheel bearing, and now you got 2 days dealing with the hassle of a $2,000+ axle. So that's be proactive, be patient. The other thing has to be a P, but I don't know what it is.
I had something good and now it's gone again.
Party.
Yes. Oh my gosh. In the summer, every weekend, there's going to be a party.
In the winter, too.
Party. Yeah, there it is.
Plan.
That's either that or plan.
Yep, plan.
Yeah, the other thing would be plan. Realistically, is if you plan things, and they don't have to be rock solid plans. Like I said, be fluid with it, but plan things. Have a tentative plan. We know where we want to be in 6 to 9 months from now, and we do have reservations 6 months from now.
especially if you want to go to popular places. If you're going north in the summer and south in the winter, plan out what you can as much as you can, because
Florida parks are booked out a year in advance.
Yeah, you almost can't get a Florida reservation unless you use different apps to grab them if you're looking for something less than 6 months out. So, and that goes up in Maine and Michigan.
I like those three.
We changed our plans last minute and weren't able to get reservations at state parks in Michigan because they're booked out almost as soon as it goes up. Unless you went like one night.
We were almost homeless for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what are some common misconceptions that you guys have heard? You've been at it for longer than most. A lot of people are on that kind of 2020, 2022 kick. Yeah. They saw everybody else doing it, and then they're like behind the. I've talked to most people around that 2 to 3 years. That's where they're at. But you guys are 5-year vets at this now. What's like a common? We had
a few years prior to, or not a few years, a few months prior to 2020, and I'd say it's way different.
Post-COVID is way different. Even
way different.
Like pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID are all very different eras in the RV community.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm trying to think what like I think it depends on who is talking to you. I think a lot of people think that we have a lot of money.
Yeah, no.
And I'll tell you, we don't have a lot of money.
No. I just know how to budget, and I stick to my budget. That's another thing.
Yes. Other misconceptions is that I think one of the questions we get a lot, maybe it's not a misconception, but one of the questions we get a lot from non-RVers is like, how do you spend that much time with your spouse? And
good one.
And I mean, well, I kind of like him,
right?
It's usually my initial response, but you find ways to have your peace, and that's something. Yeah, everybody needs to be able to have a little bit of peace, but you also need to figure out how to work through those hard moments. It's okay to argue. It's okay to discuss things. But
it's a lot easier to have those conversations of why you made me upset than it is why I'm leaving you. It's just a way easier conversation. And I know a lot of people are afraid to talk to people sometimes, but communication is key. And it's okay to let something make you feel a certain way. You just have to take a moment and let the emotions leave the situation and then talk about it.
But we're not with each other 24/7 either. We, if he needs to, he'll go and run errands by himself because that gives him a moment. There's been times, and when you find your friends on the road, like him and his buddy will go grab a beer and then go do grocery shopping or whatever. And it's
amazing how well you can detail a truck over the conversation of no reason.
Guys are good at that.
Yes. Oh, you're still talking? Okay.
Yeah.
Other conceptions.
I don't really know. I listen to it.
Hold up here. Hold up. Restart that. You cut out pretty good there. Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
We try not to listen to the haters. We try to just let that roll off our backs. We get a lot about, isn't it hard traveling with kids?
Or how do they socialize? How do your kids get socialization and stuff like that? And
my question to those people is well, how does any other kid get socialization? Kids don't they don't have barriers. They just walk up and like, can you be my friend?
Go to McDonald's. They'll start playing with whoever in the playground, and that'll be their new best friend because they were wearing a purple shirt.
Yeah, just like we talked
true.
earlier. Like,
it's true. It's pretty easy. I still do it sometimes. I'll be drinking a beer and like see someone with the same shirt. I'm like, hey, what's up?
That's it.
Yes.
Never leaves,
100%. But yeah, we really, I mean, honestly, we just try not to, I mean, our journey isn't about anybody but us. So we're living our dream our way. They can live their dream their way, and it doesn't have to be the same. So,
yeah, it's you come out there, you're doing this life your way, right? Everyone does it. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it, but everyone does it a little different. Every single one of them. So, along with that, so what about like some favorite experiences, right? So, but one of the questions I love about this question is, what are some unexpected benefits that have come out of RV life, whether it's with your family or just like within yourself? And then obviously favorite experiences, places, things, food, whatever it may be, tag onto that.
Well, our marriage has gotten way stronger in our relationship with our children because so kids are really good at taking your flaws and absorbing those and turning them into something huge.
Giant lighthouses of here's what I do wrong on a daily basis.
So, yeah.
That's good.
So I have gotten the best self-correction from my children. They have made me a better person, probably almost better than my wife has been able to, which is amazing. That's been huge. That's been a really big thing. It's really made a big difference. And I feel like my life, it's really showed me how to be a better person.
I think, favorite like experiences and places.
I still really like, okay, this sounds almost a little cliche. So Niagara Falls, they have this boardwalk that they build every spring that's down at the base of the falls that you walk right up to it. And they have this hurricane deck, which it's the force of a hurricane just blasting you from the waterfall. And you're down there in your waterproof poncho. It's a plastic.
It doesn't do anything.
You come out of there soaked. And the power. I love waterfalls. And
the energy
of the waterfalls. And then being at the base of Niagara Falls.
We enjoyed the Cave of the Winds better than we did the boat tour.
Yeah.
The boat tour was cool, but Cave of the Winds, that was probably one of our, that's one highlight.
The fall colors, chasing the fall colors down a couple years ago, it was one of our favorites, and we're going to do that again.
We're going to try to do it better this year. We left a little early last time.
The Northern Lights.
We got to experience the Northern Lights last summer. And if you're watching, this summer is supposed to be
even better.
They're hoping that it'll be just as good.
We were in Michigan when we caught them, though.
And we actually, technically, we saw them in Kentucky too.
Yeah, we did. We saw them in Kentucky, barely,
but we did. But they're supposed to be good this year. So download your apps, do a little like education about like what they are, how to spot them, if that's something that you want, because that is a really cool experience. Other things that we've done that weren't necessarily like, we were paddle boarding in the Keys in December, and we had manta rays,
eagle rays, just jumping out of the water next to us. That was wicked cool thing to experience. The kangaroos. the kangaroos in Kentucky.
There is a like zoo type attraction called Kentucky Down Under, and you feed kangaroos there, and
it's like a 1 acre fenced in park with like a section of the park with like 100 kangaroos in it, and you get they grab your hands and like hold their food there so they can eat it, and they're super soft. They feel like a bunny. Yeah, you can pet them.
Really?
If they'll let you pet them, you can pet them.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Are they are they like wallabies or like kangaroos?
No, they're
like kangaroos.
They're kangaroos, like eye level kangaroos.
That's terrifying.
It's slightly. They're not like super jacked, but
You've seen the ones that are like you're like I don't want to mess with that guy.
I'm good.
They were super gentle and super cool, and like that was a really cool experience. What else? I mean, like
other good ones.
We've done a lot of fun
fireworks over the at Plymouth Rock was really fun. We watched the 4th of July at Plymouth Rock.
They do a pretty cool fireworks show there.
What's Plymouth Rock?
That was kind of symbolic,
right?
I don't know. We've done Plymouth Rock was where that's where Christopher Columbus landed in Massachusetts.
Yes.
Oh, that's the spot, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I will say that Plymouth Rock is probably the most underwhelming thing we've ever seen, ever.
Wow.
But
all right, see you later.
Yeah.
The fireworks over that bay, that was cool. Just don't go to Plymouth Rock expecting anything like woohoo.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was a rock surrounded by concrete.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it. 1620. 50 was it?
Yep.
Wow. I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder. Yeah, right. Well, let's go get some pizza.
Yes. That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
The lava fields in Oregon. Those are cool.
Oh, yeah. If you get a chance to grab the lava fields in Oregon, and then there's an obsidian flow
That's
there
the one
too.
I was talking about.
Yeah, there's almost a 1 acre lava flow of obsidian. So it's just this black field of glass.
And it's shiny and it's very, very sharp.
Oh yeah.
That's
I know from experience.
Yeah. Here's the scar right here.
Yeah. Yep. It's on her leg.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are probably some of our favorites.
Those were some good ones. We need to go back out west, and we need to go down the middle of. We need to go out west again because that was
we didn't get to do a lot of things because of COVID.
And then we still haven't hit straight down the middle of the country, like North Dakota, South Dakota, straight down. We still have to go hit that.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when you hit Nebraska. I'll tell you what to do.
Sounds
Absolutely.
good. I know all the spots. Yeah.
Good.
Not a whole lot, but I know the spots.
The Corn Palace?
I don't think
that's in South Dakota. That's South Dakota.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's there, but whatever.
No, I wouldn't. They obviously don't know where the Huskers are.
Can you believe them? There's actually more corn in Iowa.
There is. We experienced the corn sweat this last summer. We didn't know that was a thing, but it makes the humidity 96% for like 3 months.
Oh yeah, that's what I was telling you, man. It's like brutal. Like camping in Nebraska, like if you don't have a camper and an AC, you just don't want to do it.
Yeah. My AC never stopped running.
Nope.
No. You can't breathe either. Yeah, we have very tough lungs. We're tough people there.
Right.
Oh gosh. So what do you guys see yourself like plans wise, goals wise, RV journey wise? What do you see like what's it gonna look like in the next couple of years? What's it not gonna look like?
So I mean
we'd like to hit the rest of the states.
We have
a lot of.
I think we have 11 more to hit, including Hawaii and Alaska, though.
Oh, so you still haven't hit Alaska?
No.
That was in your 3-year plan.
It was. We missed it.
Yeah, we'd like it. Just I don't know. There's a lot of things that it depends on. Obviously, we have to be money conscious because we are not millionaires. So planning things out the right way will be a lot of it, but we'd love to hit the rest of the states. There's a lot of national parks that we haven't been to yet.
Our kids collect junior ranger badges from the national parks. So I think they have something like,
I don't even know,
42 junior ranger badges.
Right here.
They have quite the oh, you trying to get them?
Yeah. Here.
But yeah, so each national park they go to, they have to
that's part of their school.
Yep, do the book, and then they get a whole mess of little junior ranger badges, and they
very nice. Hi, my name is Russell, and I'm a part of Christ Gate.
Yes!
You know?
But they collect those, and that's part of their school. So they get a day off of regular school if we go to a park and they do their junior ranger booklet. And so but I mean, we haven't been to Yellowstone.
No, we've missed quite a few of the big ones, but we've hit a few of the obscure ones. Like one of our favorite ones, like, so Grand Canyon gets a great rep because it's the Grand Canyon, but what was the one in Colorado? I can't even think of the name of it right now.
Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Black
Canyon of the Gunnison.
Yeah, Black Canyon of the Gunnison.
Yeah, I've heard that before, but
it's beautiful.
You get to be so intimate with the edge of the canyon. It's very daunting.
Really?
Like, yeah, unlike the Grand Canyon where they have it very, like, you know, the railing's like 6 feet back and it's a fence and like nobody's falling in. This one,
this is a fence that moves like this far if you lean on it.
Yeah.
Colorado, they give less. They're like, eh.
Yeah.
It's
good. It's actually really fun. It's just way more less. It's way less developed, and one side of the canyon is a little bit more developed, and the other side is completely rugged. It's all dirt roads.
Wait.
It's
cut out a little bit there, buddy. You want to restart that sentence?
Yeah, the front part of the canyon is a little bit more developed. It's has a little more roads, but the back side of the canyon is all dirt roads, all very rugged and primitive.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
So you got to go back to there. That's the plan, right? Have you guys heard of? So Idaho, we're in Boise. So if you're coming through the west,
we're definitely going west.
Yes.
So there's another place that you talked about, the lava fields of. Whoa, geez, that is a big canyon. Ooh. There's a. It's called the Craters of the Moon. You ever heard of that?
Yes. Yes,
it's
park. It's where the astronauts go and train.
Yeah, it is actually. So I flew into Idaho a couple years back to like come out work a show when I was working in Lincoln. Man, someone wants your attention.
I
know.
What is going on?
I gotta show you this picture.
All right.
So, well, actually, I can probably pull it up. Yeah. So, if you pull up Google Maps, where's it at? Google Maps. Do I have Google Maps on here? I don't, but I can do it on here.
Oh my gosh!
They want talk to me.
I know. It's crazy because I don't have anything open, so I don't know where they're coming from.
So when you fly, can you see this? When you fly over, this looks horrifying because it looks like a dried up lake bed, but all these like,
right?
It's like, it just looks like what is happening on this ground. And it's just literally you just driving by. I've driven this road by it. It's just like miles of black and it's like giant, like nasty, gnarly looking rocks, like that lava field. It's very similar because it was a lava. It was the same idea, but whoa. It was like
where's that
like
one?
You don't want to walk out there. That's in eastern Idaho. Yeah, well, it's actually kind of eastern central Idaho, or I guess it's south. I don't know exactly, but that area.
Idaho,
but it's very cool. It's hot, so you got to be careful what time of year you go. But
yes.
very warm.
Oh yeah, it soaks up that sun.
Oh yeah. I mean, just Idaho in the summer is pretty warm. Excuse me. All right. So 5 years on the road, what are some favorite gadgets and gizmos that you've come across, or like you are like, these are must-have things that I have to have while RVing?
My stabilizers for sure. So I have I used to have JT Strong Arms on our other trailer, and those were awesome. And then I got the bolt-on ones for the front jacks. The X stabilizer from
Moride,
yeah. and then the tire ones, and those have made a huge difference. I actually like those better than the teepee.
Teepee.
Like the one that goes on the fifth wheel.
Oh, what is that one? It goes at the front of the tripod one, not the teepee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, holding it like the fifth wheel hitch type deal.
Yeah. Right? I feel like those, because my buddy has the tripod one, and I have the ones that just go across the front jacks and the X in the front, and those I feel like do just as good of a job, and I don't have to lug that tripod around.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what's been another game changer?
The snap pads.
The snap pads.
Did we say that already? Oh.
So we watched a dude. We were across the street from Road America.
Oh yes.
And I'm thinking the site,
the beep is messing with you.
The beep is messing with me. The sites were really, really unlevel, and our front, when we leveled out, I could walk underneath the fifth wheel hitch without hitting my head. Yeah, it was way
really,
high,
really high.
And then and so there was a guy next to us that he started setting up his rig, and his rig started sliding down the hill, and he didn't have any of the snap pads, which is what I'm attributing it to, because everything was able to like lock in.
Because we were in the same site. We were right next to each other, and his just started like going down this hill.
It was terrifying.
It was scary.
His wife actually made him sleep with it unlevel. So that way it wouldn't roll down the hill. And so I don't know how they did it, but they did that for like a week and left. And then our electric boiler.
Yeah, our electric kettle. It's the simplest thing.
Oh yeah.
But it saves us money on propane.
Hundreds of dollars in propane.
And it's so much faster than just waiting for it to boil.
Yeah, it's distracting.
Pour over coffee all the time. I do that. I mean, I have one at home. I do that all the time. Like that's how I make coffee. I don't like coffee out of the drip anymore. Like it's not really my thing. But pour over coffee, this is the way to go.
It got started with the French press.
Yep. Oh, yep. Same way I did that.
Yeah. Because we have the hot water on demand, which is fantastic for showers, but it really, really sucks for doing dishes.
Mm-hmm. So we use the electric kettle to boil the water for dishes. We use it for everything.
Why does the on-demand suck for dishes?
Because I'm constantly turning the water on and off to save the and so my water isn't staying as warm as I need it. So I'm actually able to get nice hot water, like really good warm water in the thing, and then I can save a bunch of water.
Especially if you're boondocking, waiting for the water to warm up is rough.
I mean, if I had an Aqua Hot or something like that, I mean, it would be a whole different story, but I don't.
Yeah.
I have weight.
Yeah. Awesome. But all right, guys. Well, we're kind of wrapping up this last question I got for you here. And it's been wonderful talking to you guys. It's been, full of information, 5 years on the road. I mean, it's always fun talking to you too. When I first, you came and found me when we were at the, at the content creation meeting. I was like, oh, people want to talk to me. I'm like, yay. So anyway, this is the question that I ask everybody, and everyone is a little different. I mean, you've hit on it a little bit, but real this is it. What is your why? Why do you full-time? Why do you keep doing so? Why did you decide that, you know what, we're not going back until we absolutely have to for some X or Y reason? So why?
Yeah, there's a I think that's really what it comes down to, because we would both love to stop in homestead. That if we were gonna stop, it would be to homestead. We'd have some animals. We'd grow pretty much all of our food. I mean, we'd just try to be as independent as possible. But that being said, within an RV, it's hard to be independent.
But like the freedom to like go places and see things, and like there's just so much that this world has to offer, and I'm not going to see it the same from my living room.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that our parents always tell us that kind of clicks is it's not the same as it used to be. And now we've experienced that even in just 5 years on the road. There's multiple places that we visited, and you know, a natural disaster happens. Like Sanibel Island. We went to Sanibel Island like 3-4 months before, I think it was Ian that hit Sanibel and wiped it off the map.
Just wiped it clean. Also Oak Alley, Live Oak Alley in just outside of New Orleans. 200-year-old
plantation that got destroyed by a hurricane. That
over half the trees on the plantation were destroyed by one of the hurricanes that came through there just 6 months after we visited. And who knows what else like will change. I mean, look at the natural disasters that happened last year in North Carolina. There's places that we visited there, the Blue Ridge Parkway. We've driven a handful of times that it will never look the same. And I truly believe that one day it'll look amazing and it'll be amazing, but it won't ever be the same as it was. And
our kids need to explore this. They need to see what they're inheriting. These are the people that are gonna be running the country before we know it. So we got to make sure they know what they love, and
it's not just the places, but it's the people too. That's something that when we go places and we're educating our children, it's not just math and science and English. It's also like, how do the people live here? Why do they live this way? You know, where did they come from? And that's all over the place, because like the people, just because it's an easy one, New Orleans, like there's a reason it's called the French Quarter. That's their history. That's where they came from. And
everything has a story.
Yeah, everything has a story. Why do they eat the foods that they do? Why do they use the flavors they do? Why do they talk the way they do? And all of that is part of what we use to educate our kids. And that's New Orleans. Maine people are different. People in Michigan are different. Canada, like all over the place. Everybody is different. And really teaching them how to accept those differences and respect them and learn from them, because we all do different things for a different reason. So that's kind of our take.
There's a lot to it.
It is.
There you have it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different one. It's like you said, everything's changed. You might as well go see it. You can't see it from the same sitting in your living room, which I was that kind of person. Like I was looking at experiences all the time. That's where they have like Earth moods on Disney. You know, they have flyover, slow motion. Like you get a little different, like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But like you guys are out, you are actually going out and doing it, seeing it. Yeah. And,
standing
the U.S. alone.
Looking at a picture of it.
Oh, yeah. So. I mean, you can't feel... You can't feel that moment. You can't feel that vision or that sight or the smells or the wind and all that. Yeah, it's definitely something to be said about actually being in that certain place, So kudos to you guys. I commend you for doing that, because it's real. It's real going out there and doing those things. And, letting your kids be a part of it is a big part of it too. Being able to learn that way, learn like kinetically, I guess, because you're around a certain spot. You're at Gettysburg, you're at Plymouth Rock. That's not so awesome, but you're there. You know, you're like, yep, yeah. He's like, I
It's a
know. My rock. Christopher
That
Columbus
one won't
said,
change.
my rock.
Nope.
I found it. I saw it first.
Yes. Oh man, that poor rock.
Yeah.
I know. I feel bad, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
You ever think about rocks? You ever feel bad about picking up a rock and throwing it and be like, you know, that rock's been there for hundreds of years. You're like, maybe for, we define life as life. We define life a certain way, but what if that rock is actually alive in its own way? And I just took him from his friend and said, see ya.
I never thought about that. I'm going to tell the kids next time that they skip a rock across the lake. I'm be like, you just unhomed him.
He knows nobody out there. And now he's drowning. I've had that thought a million times, and I finally saw a meme about it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I agree with that.
That's awesome.
Oh, shoot. Well, James Kelly, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. It's these conversations are always fun for me, right? It's always something different perspectives. How do you guys live life, and different personalities? There's all sorts of different personalities in this. I'd love to sit down and have a beer with you guys at your campsite sometime. And that's the, phase 2 of the RV Voice. Hopefully it gets to that point where I just show up. What up?
That would be cool.
Here we are, get a glimpse into your guys' lives. Huh?
Business expense.
It's a write-up.
Yep. That's I try to say that. This will work. Just build it. Let me build it. They will come.
Yeah, we just need to get you a credit card.
Yep.
Yeah. Swipe. Yeah. No, but shoot. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close out?
Man, I don't know. If this is what you want to do and you got questions, like reach out to people, whoever you want. Like we're available, like everybody in the RV community. If this is something you really want.
I don't know that anybody that wouldn't be willing to answer questions or give you their perspective.
Like all these RV people are super cool. Like reach out to them if you have questions, because that's what we're here for, is to inspire people and get people to live your dream your way. Yeah. That's our motto, and whatever your dream is, you can do it.
I like that. You heard it here first. Get out there and chase your dreams.
Yeah.
From James and Kelly.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. I'm going to try something new with y'all. You want to do it with me? You're going to point at the camera and say, stay tuned for more from the RV Voice. So on 3, 1, 2, 3. Stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned for the RV Voice. Oh, man. Let's try that again. All right. Stay tuned for more from the RV
Voice. Yeah, we did it. Awesome.